Hello, I'm Gaurav Sharma. I am an independent oil market analyst and I provide my analysis to private clients in Forbes and various other publications. Now here's my pitch on what we're going to see over the next 4 to 5 weeks in the crude oil markets. As probably most of you keenly follow the market would have noticed that we're in a rather flattish sort of space where as far as Brent futures and West Texas Intermediate futures go. So starting with Brent futures, which would be the global proxy benchmark, if you look at it, this chart sums up the last 3 months. And what we've seen is we've seen a fair amount of oscillation as far as the Brent futures go, but that oscillation has been in a very predictable range, i.e. we've rarely capped 70 and we've rarely fallen below sort of 50. So this 50 to 65 range is what not just Brent, but both the Brent and the West Texas Intermediate are working on. The one little spike that you see over there, well, that was the date. Of the drone attacks on Saudi Aramco, which caused a temporary spike and then reality hit. And that reality happens to be that there is just way too much crude oil in the market because there is a new game in town, or not so new game in town, with the Americans being the buffer producers. And by some projections, I don't personally subscribe to them, but there are certain market projections that even OPEC for that matter acknowledges that American production might even reach as high as 17 million barrels per day by 2024. Our immediate task, how the next 4 to 6 weeks to look at. We have a buffer producer in the shape of the United States. OPEC has a huge problem that it has acknowledged. Now, the biggest mover in town would be the OPEC meeting. It's coming up on the 5th of December. And it meets OPEC plus, i.e. the 10 non-OPEC producers led by Russia the very next day. And here is the OPEC basket. This chart sums up the OPEC basket perfectly. We're doing around about $63.81 a barrel. And keen watchers of this broadcast would know that when we last spoke about OPEC 6 months ago before its last meeting, it was $1 higher. That tells you all really is that crude oil futures are going nowhere fast. Now, if you happen to be a spread better, you want to place a punt on what the direction of the market is, this OPEC basket just about sums up not just previous trends, but where the global economy has been in the last sort of few years that we've seen, their peaks, their troughs. But nobody here predicts oil hitting 100 anytime soon, nor does anybody in their right frame of mind predict a slump to 20. There are concerns over the global economy, there are concerns over demand about electric vehicles, and that oil demand is gearing more towards petrochemicals and cosmetics and aviation fuel. But at the end of the day, I think we will keep sort of trudging along this demand curve of sort of 1 million barrels per day in demand growth there or thereabouts, and total global demand being somewhere in the region of 100 million barrels per day for the whole planet. But demand growth is going to be around 1 million BPD per day. Given that demand curve and given the amount of production that's coming on to the market, not just from America, but from Norway, from Canada, from Brazil, from the United Kingdom, what you're likely to see is a fair amount of barrels in the market, especially US light sweet crude. That will keep the oil price honest. As you can see from this chart, the OPEC basket, the basket of 14 OPEC crudes is averaging around 63, just short of $64. Now, my take it is what we see in Vienna on the 5th of December. I think OPEC is probably do what is best at is do nothing. It'll be a real surprise if it acts and it cuts heavily, and that could move the market. But I don't see right now it's going to move quite heavily. I don't think it's going to come back in a heavy way, and that the OPEC meeting could well turn out to be a non-event. Now, what we're looking at for spread bettors, 300-point spread this way or that. You've got looking at average Brent prices of 60 to 65 and average West Texas prices of 55 to 60. And that is my take on the oil markets. I think OPEC is going to be a non-event, but the only surprise to the upside will be if the oil ministers make a drastic cut. And that by that drastic cut, I mean we're talking about in excess of 1 million barrels per day on top of the 1.2 that they're cutting on. I don't think that's going to happen. So the oil price for Brent 60 to 65, West Texas 55 to 60 by even more optimistic estimates. Thank you.